Shalom, everyone. What a world and society we live in. What a day and age to be alive. Today I want to look at the scriptures, and I want to look at the meaning of redeeming the time. What it means for us to walk exactly, not as unwise, but as wise. Redeeming the time, because these days are wicked. They are dysfunctional. It's always been dysfunctional. Since the garden, since the fall, since the tree of good and evil. What a dysfunctional day and age we live in. Total immorality, filthiness, depravity, everywhere you look. Let us keep our eyes focused on the Master. We're going to start in Ephesians. We're going to read from chapter 5, verses 11 through 17. If you want to get out your scriptures. That's just the way that's going to be. Okay. And have no fellowship with the fruitless works of darkness. None. Fruitless works. In utter darkness. Total dysfunctionality. Totally off the path. No fellowship. Do not be yoked to, joined with the fruitless works of darkness, but rather convict them, expose them. Admonish, prove them wrong. Prove them wrong to yourself so that you can show others in exposing the same things which you have so diligently looked at to prove them wrong, that they are not of Yah. Or that they are Yah. But right here we're talking about the fruitless works of darkness. Convict them. Admonish. Prove wrong. For it is a shame to even speak of what is done by them in secret. Right? Sometimes it's all you can do to have your jaw lifted back up off the table for some of these things. But all matters being convicted are manifested by the light. For whatever is manifested is light. Because the darkness must flee when the light appears. So they're convicted when the light manifests. Are we manifesting the light of Messiah in our lives? In the walk that we're walking? Walking as wise and not as fools? That is why he says, wake up, you who sleep. Wake up. Wake up now. We need to wake up. Open our eyes. But there'll be a time when he calls those who are in the grave up from the dust and arise from the dead. Wake up, be immersed into Messiah, and arise from that dead body being left behind in the watery grave. And he will say, rise up from the dead. There'll be that day, first resurrection. I know they've been saying it's around the corner for a long time. Wow. Look at the day we live in. And Messiah shall shine on you. He'll shine in and through you now, and he'll shine on you in that day as well. See then that you walk exactly, not as unwise, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are wicked. So then do not be foolish, but understand what the desire of Yahuwah is. And the whole conclusion of the matter is, fear Yahuwah and follow his commands. Okay, so we're going to look specifically into verses 15 and 16. We're going to look at some of the words in here. Go to the next slide. Possibly. So, see then that you walk exactly. Let's take a look at the word walk. In the Greek, it's 40:43. Oh, let me put the program on. There you go. In the Greek, it is Greek 40:43. Parapatio. Pretty good, huh? From 40:12 and 39:61. To tread all around. That is, walk at large, especially as a proof of ability. Figuratively, to live, deport oneself, follow as a companion or votary. So in the Greek, it's even the proof of the ability. I'm talking Greek here. Prove it by your walk. Follow the master. Keep your eyes fixed on him. We can trace this word back to Genesis chapter 3, verse 8. And they heard the voice of Yahuwah Elohim walking about in the Gan, in the Ruach of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahuwah Elohim among the trees of the garden. They were supposed to be emanating that walk then. And Yahuwah Elohim called unto Adam and said to him, "Where are you?" And he was definitely off the path. And he said, "I heard your voice in the Gan, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself." Guilty. Who's been there? Guilty. Ain't gonna work. We will be naked before him. And we best be walking like him and towards him with our eye on him. And he said, "Who made you know that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree which I commanded that you should not eat?" That was the tree of good and evil. The tree of function and dysfunction. So we see here that this word walk, that we are supposed to walk like our master walked, goes in the, looks like I didn't look up the Hebrew strong, goes in the ancient Hebrew lexicon. Well, it's at 1264 FV. And we can see down here, I tried to do most of these in blue. Hopefully I got them all. Is to walk a journey, or lifestyle, or customs. Our journey should be walking at this point, or the point that we've been buried in that watery grave and come back out. Our journey should be on the journey of the narrow path that Messiah has put us on, following how he walked with our eyes on him. That should be our lifestyle, and it should be seen in all the customs that we have, not the traditions of men. The action is travel, the concrete is journey. At the two-letter root, we have from right to left the lam and the kaf. The action is walk, the concrete is message. The pictograph lam is a picture of a shepherd's staff. The kaf is a picture of the palm of the hand. Combined, these mean staff in the palm. A nomad traveled on foot with the staff in his hand to provide support in walking. Praise Yah. We've got the shepherd and the instructions to provide support on our walk, as well as a weapon. What is our weapon? The word is a weapon. The instructions, the shepherd himself, as a weapon to defend against predators or thieves. So our actual word is a hey, a lam, and a kaf. You can see down here the hey is the man with his arms raised. It means revelation, breath, man, look, show, behold. We have a lam, which is the shepherd staff, goad, instructions, yoke, teach. And the kaf, which is the hand, bless, allow, bend, tame, cover, and open. So as we walk on the way, we walk in the revelation that he has given us of himself, the shepherd, of the instructions that he's put forth that should goad us on our path to bending our will to all that is tob, all that is good, as opposed to all that is evil. We need to be wise in making our choice on our walk and not foolish. Isaiah 30, verses 18 to 22. And therefore, Yahuwah shall wait to show you favor, and therefore he shall be exalted to have compassion on you. For Yahuwah is an Elohim of right ruling. Blessed are those who wait for him. Are we waiting on him? Here we are. Are we doing those things which will be rightly ruled? They're going to be rightly ruled. But when they're rightly ruled, are they going to be the things that are tob and righteous and pure and holy and lovely? For the people shall dwell at Zion, at Yerushalayim. You shall weep no more. He shall show much favor to you at the sound of your cry. When he hears, he shall answer you. Though Yahuwah gave you bread of adversity, right? Water of affliction, your teacher shall no longer be hidden. No longer be hidden. But your eyes shall see the teacher, El, who was with us. Are our eyes fixed on him? The taught ones had their eye on him. Did they ever fall? A righteous man falls 7 times, he gets up, it says. But our eyes shall see him. We should be fixed on him. And your ears hear a word behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. Your eyes are looking forward. Your choice is between good and evil. Are our eyes fixed on the goodness of the Master? That voice telling us, go this way. This is the way. Walk in it. Walk straight towards him and stay fixed on him. This is the way. Walk in it. Whenever you turn to the right or whenever you turn to the left, keep going straight. It says in Joshua, be strong and courageous, that you take the whole Torah of Moshe and follow it, not going to the right or to the left. Be strong and courageous. And you shall defile the covering of your graven images of silver and the plating of your molded images of gold. You shall throw them away as a menstrual cloth. Because that seed never comes to fruition when it's on the menstrual cloth. It's not going to come to fruition. Walk straight in the way with your eyes on the teacher in goodness and righteousness and truth, and say to them, be gone. Get the dung out. Matthew 14, 22 to 33. And immediately Yahusha. Yah who came to rescue us. Keep your eyes on Yahuwah who came to rescue you. Made his taught ones enter into the boat and go before him on the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And having dismissed the crowds, he went up to the mountain by himself to pray. Praise Yah. He wasn't praying to Peter, John, James. He was praying to Yahuwah Elohim. He was wrapped in flesh. Who is he going to pray to? He can certainly be in more places than at once. Let me not say that. And when evening had come, he was alone there. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, agitated by the waves, for the wind was against it. And in the fourth watch of the night, Yahusha went to them, walking on the sea. And when the taught ones saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a phantom." And from fear they cried. But immediately Yahusha spoke to them, saying, "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." And Kepha answered him and said, "Master, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." And he said, "Come." And when Kepha had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Yahusha. But when he saw that the wind was strong, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Master, save me." And immediately Yahusha stretched out his hand, took hold of him, and said to him, "O you of little belief, why did you doubt?" Yahusha was walking on the sea. He was walking on this agitated sea that was agitated by the wind. The sea of agitated people is that sea of people that's spoken of in Revelation that followed the whore who rides the beast that comes up out of the sea. And he shall bruise your head. He shall crush your head, and you shall bruise his heel. He's walking on it. And the people in the sea are agitated. And Yahusha says, it doesn't matter. This picture of the sea of people. Come. If it's you, Kepha says, tell me to come. And he says to come. Kepha knew the voice of the master and walked out on, just like we should be walking on top of this dysfunction with our eyes fixed on the master at all times. It didn't mean Kepha didn't know there was a wind around him. It didn't mean he didn't know that the sea wasn't agitated. It did not mean that Kepha didn't know what was going on in his day and age. Of course he did. They all did. They knew all the different dysfunctional things that were going on. Therefore, they were able to address them. But as long as he kept his eyes on the master, he stayed on top of that sea, on top, even though the storm's whirling all around him. And the minute he took his eyes off the master, down into the sea of agitated people, or the picture of the agitated people, he went. Stirring it all up. Tell me that isn't the truth today. In every respect, we need to keep our eyes on the master. It's in every walk, rich and poor, young and old, Jew and Greek, male and female, Torah, non-Torah. I don't care who you are. We need to keep our eyes on the master. Now, with everything that's going on, it's a fight in the flesh. It's If you've watched some of the last videos, it's neither here nor there about the videos. But whatever's going on around you, it's a fight sometimes in the flesh to stay focused on the master. Because I got to tell you, the enemy and that agitated sea of people he's using are really good. I mean, they really know how to take a situation and use your past or use the human nature and combinatorially optimize things to get you to move in their direction, which is simply what? To take your eyes off the master. It's a fight in the flesh. Let me raise my hand again. Hello? Of course it is. That's for Sylvia. Ready, Sylvia? Okay. We need to keep our eyes on the master. And when that voice behind us says, this is the way, walk in it. Walk in it. Come to the master and stay fixed and focused. So that's kind of a look at walking. There's so much in the scriptures about walking. Actually, that word itself. Well, that took a jump back, didn't it? What do you think of that? Huh, maybe we ought to hide this mouse from itself. Okay, so, did you hear that, Sylvia? Maybe we ought to hide the mouse from itself. Okay, squeak, squeak. Anyway, I encourage you that whenever you see this word walk worthily, walk this way, walk that way, don't walk this way, don't walk that way. Really consider, is this Tob? Is this functional way I'm going to walk? Or is this dysfunctional? So let's look at what exactly means. See then that you walk exactly, not as unwise, not as foolish, but as wise, having the wisdom that was from the beginning in Proverbs 9 that was with Yahuwah in the beginning. I'm not saying there was something separate than Yahuwah. He is the epitome of wisdom. In all our wisdom, we need to get understanding of what it means to be a son and daughter. Exactly. Strong's 199. Let me see if I can get this mouse to cooperate. Nope. All right. Adverb from the same as 196. Exactly. So here's our 196. Most exact. Right on step. The 1828 Webster's, we see that exactly means precisely, according to rule or measure. Legalistic? Yo, let's be that. Let's walk exactly according to the rule or the measure of the Torah with our eyes on Messiah, because in that is everything good, righteous, and true. Precisely according to fact. It's debatable. The fact of that we're not in this world, we're in this world, but we're not from it. Okay. Some of the facts that they present out there, we need to go back. We need to compare it to this. We need to keep our eyes focused and listen for that voice, because what they set out there is fact. It might just have this much of a lie in it. It might have this much of a lie in it. Wait a minute. That much of a lie in it. We want this much of a lie in it. 0. Precisely according to principle, justice, or right. Because he's going to rightly rule. So looking at this word exact, take it back to Deuteronomy 19. This was a little bit of a hard trace, but here it is. And the judges shall diligently search and see if the witness is false, who has falsely accused his brother. Then you shall do to him as he thought to have done to his brother, because he was going to do something completely dysfunctional. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst. Again, there's the word evil. There's that word wicked. It means dysfunction. So the judges searched functionally. They didn't search outside for the witnesses. They didn't cheat. They did it in an absolutely functional manner according to the Torah. We see it's at Strong's G 3190. Or no, let's correct that one on the fly. We see in the Hebrew, it's at Strong's H 3190. Yatab, a primitive root, to be causatively, make well, literally, sound beautiful, or figuratively, happy, successful, and right. We want our walk to be successful. And I don't know if I'd go with happy, because I see happy is outside of someone and joy is inside of someone. Joyous. The ancient Hebrew lexicon, for the joy set before him. He completed everything in his walk that he was supposed to complete. Ancient Hebrew lexicon, 1186 LV. We see here at the V, it's good. To be good, such as being functional. We also have here at the J root line, good, to be good, such as being functional. We just said the same thing. Now we've got a wa in the middle of one and the yod at the beginning of another. That's probably for another day. Good, something that functions properly. The judge's search had to function properly. Well, we're really talking about a walk here, but they had to do what was good and pure and true and holy and right in walking out their position as judges. The abstract is good. The pictograph tet is a picture of a basket used to contain or surround something. The bait is a picture of a tent or house. Combine these mean surround the house. Praise Yah, the house is surrounded, the first fruits that are in the basket, surrounded by goodness, function, grace, beauty, love, help, prosperity, something that is functional. Is our walk covered in the grace of Yah? Are we walking in love? Are we walking in the kingdom prosperity? And I ain't talking money. Are we walking in that which is successful and prosperous to the treasures that we've stored up in the Shemayim? So we have the yod, which is an arm or a hand. It can mean to work, to worship, to throw, to make. We have the tet, which is the basket, which is surround, contain, clay, mud, and twist. We have the bait, which is the house, family, inn, tent, floor plan. When we are walking exactly in and as the right hand power of Elohim, Yod, which is a Hebrew idiom for power, strength, and authority. Is that what we're walking in? So that we might be awoken. Okay. So that we might be woken from our sleep as first fruits in the basket of the house of Elohim when he calls us. Are we walking in such a manner? Have we woken up and got our eyes on the teacher, listening to the voice? The work which we do, Yod, will witness that we are good fruit. Where's it going to go? Mature fruit goes in the basket for the harvest. It's a full stalk mature. Because we follow the tent floor plan that was laid out for the house, which is in the commands, the laws, the instructions, the mitzvot, however you need to call them, the statutes, the right rulings. Our walk needs to be functional. We've spent so much time in our lives, some of us more than others. Some of us just yesterday because there was something we didn't know, so now They call it another layer of the onion was peeled back, or we're tired of going around the same mountain, whatever the case may be. We need to look clearly and listen to the voice and say, yeah, this is dysfunctional. And we need to walk in that which is functional. Because it's functional for us. And it's functional for those around that would accept it. It really would be functional for those that think everything is dysfunctional if they had eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart to turn. So Psalm 23 verses 1 to 6. I want to go there in the scriptures. Because maybe you got something written down there to remind you of something. I would like to encourage everyone to write all over your Bible. Get another one if you need to have a nice looking one. It's a great place to keep your notes. Because then every time you go there, you can see it. Oh, but I got something wrong. Well, use pencil then. Though it disappears faster. Yahuwah is my shepherd. There's only one shepherd, chief shepherd, and it is Yahuwah, and he is the chief shepherd that was here in the New Testament. There is one shepherd. He is that lamb that we saw in walk, that leads us and goads us and guides us. And my sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. I do not lack. And he's not going to lead you into a place of lack from kingdom perspective. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me, he guides me, he goads me, beside still waters. He turns back my being, he turns back my being. He leads me in paths of righteousness. We're walking, he's leading us in the path of that which is righteous and true and good and functional and holy and lovely and of good report. Eyes on him. For his name's sake. Because it's what he breathed. When I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. This whole place is a shadow of, there's just death and destruction. And it's going to be on a mass scale. Because he's going to take it all out. It doesn't matter what they do. And this, can relate to, okay, someone's on their deathbed and it's the valley of the shadow of death. Okay, there's a whole picture here. When you walk through the shadow of the valley of death, and it's all around you, I fear no evil. I'm thinking that's dysfunction there. I didn't look it up. I fear none of this dysfunction. It looks like death all around, and it may be. For you, Yahuwah, the shepherd that leads and guides, your rod and your staff, the lam, the instructions, what goads me, the rod that I need when I need correction. Ooh, they comfort me, because following the instruction is comfort to the being and to your spirit. And no one likes discipline when they get it. But in the end, what's it do? Yield the good fruit of righteousness. You spread before me a table in the face of my enemies. That's the table we want to be at, because we were allowing him to lead us in the path of righteousness. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup runs over. Priests were anointed. Kings were anointed. Prophets were anointed. And sick people were anointed. We were some sick people. Now we're going to want to be kings and priests. They were anointed. And spread the seed of Messiah throughout the entire land. Only goodness and loving commitment follow me all the days of my life. What's that voice back there telling you to do? Following you. Keep telling you, keep your eyes on the teacher and go this way. Goodness is following you. Righteousness is in that voice. Goodness is in that voice. Truth is in that voice. Am I saying it's only behind you? No. It's a picture. It's got to do with the past being in front and the future being in the back. Another day. All the days of my life. Yesterday. Just tomorrow. Just for a week. All the days of your life. Keep our eyes fixed on Yahuwah Messiah. Doesn't mean don't be aware of what's around you. And I shall dwell in the house of Yahuwah to the length of days. I'm going to say that's La'olam Vayed. I don't know that's what's there, but length of days. Proverbs 2. Okay, got a lot from Proverbs 2. My son, the seed of my house that I have, he's adopted us. Accept his words and treasure up his commands within us, so that you make your ear attend to wisdom. I need to pull up the Strongs not the Strongs. I need to pull up the E sword on this. Yeah, not that one, this one. So that you incline thine ear to wisdom. The wisdom that was in the very beginning, according to Proverbs, I think it's 9. Could be 8, but I think it's 9. Was in the beginning. Apply thy heart, the authority that is inside of you. Give it all over. Apply thy heart to understanding, to the understanding of what it means to be a son and daughter of the Most High Elohim in the house of Elohim. Following the tent floor plan is the seed of Elohim. No one else is following it. And if they are, it's just here and there. Some don't even realize they're doing it, and some are doing it just to get their lie in there. Yea, let me go back here. For if you cry for discernment, for understanding, lift up your voice for this understanding. Cry out. Lift up your voice so that you and all of us, we can teach each other, reprove each other, correct each other, encourage each other. Lift up your voice for understanding. Because if you understand what it means to be a son and daughter of the Most High Elohim, then you're looking at the functional. You're looking at the good. You're looking at the teacher. You're looking at the truth. You're looking at the master. You're listening to the voice because you've been given the understanding of the wisdom that was from the beginning, so that you can discern between the functional and the dysfunctional. Lift up your voice for understanding. If you seek her as silver and search for her as hidden treasure, is that what we're after? The wisdom, the understanding, and the discernment to follow the Master who is right before our eyes, to do that which is functional, to walk in that which was functional. Then you would understand the fear of Yahuwah. Sum it all up in this: fear Yahuwah and follow his commands. If you seek her as silver and search for her as hidden treasure, you will understand what it means. I will understand. Whoever it is will understand the fear of Yahuwah. Comes from the root line for Torot, for Torah. What are we walking out if it's not the Torot that he's laid out before us for the love of our master? And find the knowledge, the intimate relationship, knowing him. The knowledge of Elohim. For Yahuwah gives wisdom out of his mouth. Breathed it from the beginning. Speaking it to you. Do you hear his voice? Knowledge, intimacy. The door to the eye. The fact you can be intimate with him. An understanding of what it means to be a son and daughter. What it means to be a bride. What it means to be a son or a daughter. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous, for those that walk on the straight path, pressing that which was from the beginning. A buckler to them that walk uprightly. Those who walk in maturity, those who are whole, those who are complete, those who are mature, because they're able to choose good. Good. Doesn't mean we don't ever sin, because anyone that says they're without sin is a liar, and the truth is not in him. He keepeth the paths of judgment, and preserveth the way of his saints. Are we on that path? Where when we come to mishpat, to judgment, for the verdict to be laid down about what our walk was, whether it came out of our mouth or the works that we did or whatever piece, and preserveth the way of his saints, of his lovingly committed ones. The way to where? The way back to him, the way back to the tree of life, which we can't get to right now because the way's blocked. Then shalt thou understand righteousness and judgment and equity. Every single good, tobe, path, functional path that there is. Are we on a functional path? Can we understand it? Are we walking uprightly, mature, like the spotless and blameless bride that we're supposed to be, so that we can understand righteousness and judgment, equity, and every good path? Here's the way, walk in it. Nope. Nope. Straight on at the master. When wisdom, I'm reading out of the King James, you guys are reading out of the scriptures. Okay. I just realized that. When wisdom comes into the heart, what verse are we on? I'll try to go back to the scriptures. For when wisdom would enter your heart, and knowledge be pleasant to your being, discretion would guard you, understanding would watch over you. His wisdom that was from the beginning has to be the authority that's inside of us, because he is the epitome of all wisdom that is true, righteous, good, pure, holy, lovely, and of good report. To deliver you from the evil way, to deliver you from the way which is dysfunctional, from the man who speaks perversities. Well, if that isn't prevalent today. Those who leave the paths of straightness to walk in the ways of darkness, dysfunction, depravity, perversity, immorality. Sometimes it's just this little step. So you're this way, and then all of a sudden, this way, this way, this way, this way. Before you know it, there you went. Happened to me. Who rejoice who rejoice to do dysfunction and delight in the perversity of that dysfunction. Stay on the path. Keep your eyes on the master and listen for the voice. He's never going to tell you to do anything against the Torah. But make sure it's him. Whose paths are crooked, and they are perverted in their ways, in their paths. To deliver you from the strange woman. The one that wants you to be dysfunctional. The one that wants you to be in the lake of fire. The one that wants you to go down with her. For the foreigner who flatters with her words, who forsakes the companion of her youth and has forgotten the covenant of her Elohim. We need to be walking in uprightness and maturity, spotless and blameless, to be a bride in covenant with Yahuwah our Elohim. For her house has sunk down to death, right? And her paths to the dead. None going into her does return, nor do they reach the paths of life. It's all about our walk. Someone's telling us which way to go and our eyes are on something. Doesn't mean you don't know the broad's there. Oh, did I say that? It doesn't mean you don't know that the whore's there. Did I say that? Of course she is. So walk in the way of goodness. Walk in the way that's functional, not dysfunctional. And keep the paths of righteousness. Stay on that path. The path that the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, the wind, the breath, that path of righteousness. For the upright, the straight, those on the straight path, shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it. Those that are upright, those that are mature, those that are spotless, those that are blameless. It's not the land now. They are not upright. They are not mature. They are not holy. They are not good. They are not of good report. They are not lovely. But the wicked, the morally wrong, shall be cut off from the earth, right? Because they're going to be in the lake of fire. And the transgressor shall be rooted out of it, plucked up, thrown into the fire. There is a path. One is going to keep us on the path of goodness, holiness, truth, and righteousness. And guard us and functional. We'll be functional. Not functional for the world, though we live in it, so we may have some functions here, of course. Functional for the kingdom. And by default, in doing that, it delivers us from the dysfunctional way. Will there be dying and death involved to the flesh? Well, yeah. Do not be afraid what man can do to you on this walk, but fear Elohim, who can kill the body and the being. Okay. Colossians 1, verses 9 to 23. Okay. That is also why we, from the day we heard about all the good and righteous and precious and pure and holy things, that the good things they had done, have not ceased praying for you and asking that you be filled I think my eyes are getting old. And asking that you be filled with the knowledge of his desire, to fear Yahuwah Elohim and follow his commands on the path that you're walking, in all wisdom and spiritual understanding. Functional understanding, not dysfunctional understanding. Spiritual wisdom, not earthly wisdom. It doesn't mean that you are not as wise as the serpent and as unmixed and innocent as the dove. His desire for you is to have all spiritual understanding in him, to do his desire. You mix the two, you might as well be at the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Been there, done it. Still happens sometimes. Come on, let's be real here. Let's get our eyes on the master. Let's get it out in the open and let's repent. Let's just shub already and be pressed back to the tent. Where in the world are we going to go? Look around us. What did he say to the master? Where would we go? Where are we going to go? All right. Being empowered with all power, according to the might of his esteem, for all endurance. Endurance when? Endurance for how long? Endurance until the end. Endure in the walk of goodness, of truth, and of righteousness, keeping our eyes focused on the master. And patience with joy. Ooh, boy. Giving thanks to the Father, who has made us fit to share in the inheritance of the set-apart ones in the light. Are we fit to share, having put our hand to the plow? You put your hand to the plow, you start walking. You don't look back. We cannot look back. We cannot go to the left or the right, or we ain't plowing a straight line. Who has delivered us from the authority of darkness. Praise Yah. We can now choose that which is functional for the kingdom in spiritual understanding on our walk and endurance to the end. We can choose not to. And transferred us into the reign of the Son of his love, the reign of the Torah, the reign of his instructions, the reign of the Torah, the reign of his commands, the reign of his word that's going to reign over all. He's going to reign over all. He is every piece, part, and conglomerate of the seed that he breathed in the earth. Is he the tree? No. Did he breathe that tree and was it a piece, part, and conglomerate of him? In its holy, perfect, true order it is. In whom we have redemption through his blood, Acts 20:28, the forgiveness of sins, who is the likeness of the invisible Elohim. That didn't mean he looked like him, but he wasn't him. That means the word is every piece, part, and conglomerate of Yahuwah himself. It's a picture of him in his completeness as he was the fullness of Elohim bodily wrapped in that which he breathed. Because the word is the likeness of the invisible Elohim. If that word isn't him, we got someone else out there. We got problems. The firstborn of all creation. Everything from the El to the Ta. The word came out. It was breathed. And formed everything in its true and perfect proper combination. Because in him were created all that are in the Shemaim, in him, not in someone else, and that are on earth. Who did the creating? Visible and invisible, whether thrones or rulerships or principalities or authorities, all have been created through him and for him. Created for who? Created through who? In the very beginning. My scriptures say Elohim created. And he is before all, and in him all hold together, because he is the El to the Taw. He sustains it all. Who are we looking at? Everything from the El to the Taw in its proper order that is functional, good, righteous, true, pure, and holy? Or do we got our eyes over here? Just a little bit. We're going to mix that in, that little bit of dysfunction, because if you mix in a little bit of dysfunction, it all becomes dysfunctional. Because the wisdom that comes down from above is first pure and true and righteous. I loosely translated that. And he is the head of the body. So who's his feet walking under? Which part of the body are we? Or which head are we following? What path are we on? The assembly, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that he might become the one who was first in all. Who is the beginning? Who is the beginning? Well, if you go back to Genesis and you take off the bait they put on as a prefix, the head is in the beginning. He is all in all. Because in him, all the completeness, all the fullness was well pleased to dwell. The completeness and fullness of who? Yahuwah our Elohim. And through him to completely restore to favor all unto himself, whether on earth or in the Shemaim, having made peace through the blood of his stake. And you who were once estranged and enemies in the mind by wicked works, but now he has completely restored to favor. Are we walking it out? Are we enduring with patience for the joy that we know that's coming? He did. For the joy that was set before him, his walk took him right to the stake. In the body of his flesh through death. That's what we're supposed to be dying to. Every time we pick something functional over dysfunctional, the flesh dies. Eventually it's killed. But it dies. To present you set apart and blameless, mature, righteous, and unreprovable before him. Right ruling, judgment. If indeed you continue in the belief, you continue to walk in a manner worthy of Messiah, we, if I say you a lot, it's because I've tried to break that habit. If we walk in a manner worthy of Messiah, founded and steadfast, and are not moved. Don't get off that path. Don't be moved to the right or to the left. Don't let them shove you around. Away from the expectation of the good news which you heard. That's our hope. That's our expectation. That's what we're enduring for. That's what we're having patience for. That joy that will come when we are made like Messiah, which was proclaimed to every creature under the Shemaim, of which I, Shaul, became a servant. Servants serve. They walk the walk of servanthood with their eyes fixed on Messiah, listening to the voice of truth and goodness and righteousness. Jeremiah 6:16. Thus said Yahuwah, stand in the ways and see, and ask for the old path. Where's the functional way? Where is it at? It's with your eyes focused on the Master and his instructions, listening to the voice. follow the shepherd, for the sheep know his voice, and they follow him. And find rest for yourselves. But they said, we do not walk in it. Imagine that. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Some of it may still be even in us. Oh. Are we working that out with fear and trembling? And I raised up watchmen over you and said, listen to the voice of a shofar. Do we hear the warning trumpet? Are we ready for the voice of the shofar when he comes? But they said, we do not listen. Are we going to listen? That we find the good way, the functional way, the Tob way, and we walk in it? Okay, so walk exactly, not as unwise, but as wise, redeeming the time. We're going to take a break here before we start this. We're going to find out what is this redeeming of time that he's talking about. Be back in a minute. What a world we live in. Did I say that when I started? I better not take any more breaks. I certainly better not quit looking at my phone, let me tell you. All right, so we're going to talk about redeeming the time, because this is the time for each and every one of us in our individual time, life, where we're at right now. It's time to redeem it in our own lives, so that when the day of redemption comes, when that time comes, we are straight, mature, righteous, following the truth, and of the set apart ones, the lovingly committed ones, the sons and daughters, the kings, the priests, the prophets, and to be the bride of Yahuwah Elohim. So, I'm going to go back here to Ephesians 5:16, redeeming the time. Walk exactly so that you can redeem the time, because the days are wicked. They're dysfunctional. Or look at redeem. To buy up. That is ransom. Figuratively, to rescue from loss. Improve opportunity. Interesting definitions. That's the 1805. We see it comes from 1537. I think the EX is, I know it's the 1537, and it's like from a point or a state of origin, I do believe. I guess we could look it up. Yeah, let's see what that means, because I didn't put that down. Got no rhyme or reason why I didn't, but let's find out. 1537. I hope that was it. Oh. Well, it means all these things. Let's go to 1805. 18, because that's our word. Oh, no wonder it won't work. 1537, denoting origin, the point whence motion or action proceeds from, out of place, time, or cause. Literally or figuratively, direct or remote. So that's what the EX, the 1537 is in the Greek, denoting origin. Out of place, time, or cause. Okay. And then we have the G59 right here. From G58, properly to go to market. That is, by implication, to purchase, specifically to redeem. So anybody that saw not the last video, I did the video before that on the buying and the selling, we looked at the same word, G59. A Greek word doesn't always go to the same Hebrew word. It fully depends on the context. When we looked at buying and selling, we specifically looked at the buying and the selling of the grain of Joseph in Mitzrayim. That's where we took the word to. That's kind of the buying and selling of the supply chain. And as we look at the G59 as part of this compound Greek word, and considering the context that we're in, we're not buying and selling grain. We're not on a supply chain here. So the G59 in this instance traces to a different Hebrew word. And you'll see why as we go through. So I hope that helps some of you that thinks every time you see this Greek word, it has to go to the same Hebrew word. Not always. We need to be so familiar with the scriptures and so familiar with the context that is in them that we can recognize. 2 Chronicles 34. I guess we're going to do 8 to 13. Oh, this is Josiah. Oh. He was the restorer of the house of Elohim. Let's see if I can get to it. Beautiful picture. And what did they find in the house of Elohim? They called it the Book of Moshe. They called it the Book of the Covenant. They called it the Book of Yahuwah. And in the Septuagint, they called it the Book of Moshe again. They were not talking about separate books. They were talking about the Sefer, the one Sefer. Another day. Okay, 34:8. And in the 18th year of his reign, when he had cleansed the land and the house, this is Josiah they're speaking of, cleanse the land and the house, he sent Shaphan, son of Atzalahu, and Mahaseyahu, the head of the city, and Joah, son of Joahaz, the recorder, to repair the house of Yahuwah, his Elohim. Are we putting in the work that is needed to repair the house of Elohim as living stones and to redeem the time by walking exactly, building each other up as sons and daughters in the house of Yahuwah Elohim, with the understanding that comes from being sons and daughters? And they went to Hilkiah, the high priest, and they gave the silver that was brought into the house of Elohim, which the Levites who kept the doors had gathered from the hand of Manasseh and Ephraim, and from all the remnant of Yisrael. There's a cost. And from all Yehuda and Benjamin, there's a cost. And which they had brought back to Jerusalem. And they gave it into the hand of the workmen, those appointed over the house of Yahuwah. And they gave it to the workmen who worked in the house of Yahuwah to repair and strengthen the house. And they gave it to the craftsmen and to the builders to buy stone and timber for couplings and for beams for the house, which the sovereigns of Yehuda had destroyed. They were buying. We have the word hewn here in the Masoretic text, but we don't see hewn in the Septuagint. What is the house of Yahuwah Elohim made of? The living stones. Have we count the cost of what it is to be a living stone in the house of Yahuwah Elohim? We have a jealous El. And the men did the work trustworthily. Okay. It's not like it says in Philippians where some did it for their own gain. Oh, well, I'm not going to look it up. I think it's in 2. Yeah, let me turn this phone over because that's not good news. And the men did the work trustworthily. Are we trustworthy? To build the house of Yahuwah Elohim and sons and daughters of Yahuwah Elohim. And over them were appointed Yahath and Obadiah and the Levites and the sons of Merari and Zechariah and Meshullam, and the sons of the Kehathites to oversee, and all of the Levites, all who were skilled in instruments of song. We know we have a different priesthood now under Yahushua Messiah and the order of the King of Righteousness, the order of Melchizedek. But what a picture. Because we had that foreshadow of the Levites and the high priest. Now we have Yahushua. And over the burden bearers and the overseers of all who did the work in any kind of service. And the Levites were scribes. The priests are the scribes and the officers and the gatekeepers. So this word redeeming is G59, it's H7069, a primitive root to erect, that is, create, by extension to procure, especially by purchase, causatively to sell, by implication to own. And we'll keep going. In the ancient Hebrew lexicon, it's 1428 HV. Here's the V, is to possess. Oh, I didn't put the other one up here. All right, we'll go to it. To acquire someone or something through a purchase or other method. At the H, the action is to gather, the concrete is branch. The process of gathering branches for the nest. Man's gathering or acquiring materials by taking or buying. The ancients measured wealth by the amount of one's possessions and measured distances by using a branch with marks on it. We see at the two-letter root, it's the kuf nun. The action is acquire, the concrete is nest, the abstract is zealous. Are we zealous for him? Are we zealous in the time that we're in and the time that we're going into? As we're moving along, time after decision after decision, who are we zealous for? The pictograph kuf is a picture of the sun at the horizon and the gathering of the light. Well, that's a beautiful picture of his cycles. And the noon is a picture of a seed. Combined, these mean gathering for the seeds. The parent birds go about gathering materials to build a nest where they will raise their seeds, their eggs. In the 1828 Webster's Dictionary, we see the word acquire right here. The action is to acquire. Latin acquirero. Sorry, I lost my place. Ad and quaerero. I cannot speak this. To seek. That is to follow. To press. To urge. Are we trying to acquire that time with Yahuwah Elohim? Are we trying to acquire? Are we possessing? Are we zealous for every moment of our time here to be exactly as Yahuwah Elohim has laid out for us? Are we following him with our eyes fixed on him? Acquireo signifies to pursue to the end our object. Are we enduring until the end? Hebrew, to seek, to make towards, to follow. To gain by any means, that does not mean that the ends justify the means. That not at all. The end justifies being walking in all goodness and truth and righteousness and purity and holiness and set apartness and etc., etc. Something which is in a degree permanent. That is correct. It is permanently on our record, written down. Or which becomes vested or inherent in the possessor. As to acquire a title, estate, learning, habits, skill, dominion, etc. Descent is the title whereby a man, on the death of his ancestors, acquires his estate. Do we have an inheritance we are going to acquire? By right of representation as his heir at law. So we have the kuf, the noon, and the hay. The kuf is the sun on the horizon. Cycle, time, gather, rise, behind, distinguish. The noon is the seed, or fish. The seed is the word. Says so in the scriptures. Continue, heir, son, and life. The hay is the man with his arms raised. Revelation, breath, man, look, show, and behold. We are to be gathered in by the kuf, by the seed, the word, the noon that has been revealed, which is the truth and only the truth given through wisdom for us to get understanding of what it means to be a son and daughter of Yahuwah Elohim. Redeem that. We have been following a dysfunctional cycle in our lives. That was a seed, a word of the adversary that is at enmity with Elohim and what he breathed. We need to be on Yahuwah's time, Yahuwah's cycle, by following the seed, following the word, keeping our eyes fixed on him, listening to that voice of the seed, of the word, which is constantly in motion and is revealed to us. He longs to gather us to himself as his children, and as a bride adorned for her husband. We need to be zealous for him each and every time we make a decision to walk exactly. Tob, die to the flesh. Walk as wise and not as fools. We won't look like the world. They will hate us. So let's go look at a couple of these places the word is used. Proverbs 23. Let me pull it up on my... Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's do it again. Let me go there. Go there in your scriptures. Write in them. Write all over them. No, the Psalms ain't going to work. We already did that. If you are a believer in Yahuwah Elohim, and you believe Yahuwah was our Messiah, and you know that Yahuwah is his name, and you are walking and you are following in his commands, I would ask right now that you pray for me and my family. That no weapon formed against us shall prosper, and no fiery dart of the enemy shall enter in. Proverbs 23, verse 23. Buy the truth. Possess the truth. Acquire the truth, so that you are able to redeem, you acquire the time, watch the truth, see the truth time after time as you're going throughout this time. Buy the truth. It's not a supply chain thing. This is acquiring that which would make you zealous for Yahuwah Elohim, because he is the truth, and sell it not. Wisdom and instruction and understanding, all wrapped up with the truth. The father of the righteous greatly rejoices, and he who brings forth a wise one shall have joy in him, shall delight in him. The father of the righteous greatly rejoices. How much more our father in the Shemayim? Let your father and your mother rejoice, and let her who bore exult. Who bore you exult. My son, give me your heart, and let your eyes watch my ways. Keep your eyes fixed on the Master, on the Father, on the Word, on Yahuwah, on Yah who came to rescue you. Keep your eyes fixed on that which is Tob. For a whore is a deep pit. To the left, in the pit. To the right, in the pit. And a strange woman is a narrow well. She too lies in wait as for prey. Just waiting. Just waiting. Just for you to take a glance over that direction. Hey, look at that. Hey. And increases the treacherous among men. by the truth. I'm just going to tell you a couple things about this word. I'm not going to bring it up. The truth is the El, the Mem, the Nun, and the Ta. It's everything from the... And I know that the Strong's doesn't have the Nun in there. I understand. It is an error. Hang on a minute. Right, emet. Why? Why do you suppose? Because they took the word, they took the seed out of the truth when they jacked with the scriptures. All right. So it's the El, the Aleph, as some people know it, the ox head, the Mem, the water, the Nun, the seed, the Ta, the two cross sticks. What's the truth? Everything from the El to the Ta, where the likeness or the blood of the seed flows in between. By that, everything from the El to the Ta that is in the likeness, the goodness, the righteous, the loveliness, the holiness of Yahuwah Elohim. Proverbs 4, verses 1 to 27. I love this word. All right. Let me get a drink. Shema, children, sons, and daughters, the instructions of a father, and attend to know and be intimate with the understanding of a son and daughter. For I gave you good instruction. Didn't Yahuwah do that? So that we could walk it out and endure until the end? For the joy that's coming in the kingdom? Do not forsake my Torah. For I was my father's son, tender, and the only one in the eyes of my mother. Then he taught me and said to me, let your heart hold fast my words. Because this is Solomon, and who was he the son of? A king and a priest. David was a Melchizedek. Guard my commands. Follow them. Fear Elohim and follow his commands. And live. Acquire, possess, be zealous for wisdom. The wisdom that was in the beginning with Yahuwah Elohim. That was Yahuwah Elohim. He is all wisdom. Spiritual wisdom. Not the wisdom of this world or this age or this earth. And acquire, get, possess, be zealous. Quit laughing, Sylvia. Be zealous to understand what it means to walk this out in the house of Elohim as the seed. Do not forget, and do not turn away from the words of my mouth. Don't go a different direction. Don't go to the left or to the right. Listen to that voice. Keep your eyes on the teacher. Do not leave her and let her guard you. Love her and let her watch over you. The beginning of wisdom is get wisdom. Get wisdom. Acquire, possess, be zealous for the wisdom that was in the very beginning. And with all your getting, with all, I think that comes from the same root. With all your getting, with all our getting, we need to acquire, possess, be zealous for understanding. This is not something you buy in the supply chain. This is not a buying and selling. It's going to cost something. It's going to cost us our life here. But we live forever. Verse 8. Exalt her and let her uplift you. She brings you esteem when you embrace her. She gives your head a fair wreath. She yields you with an adorning crown. She shields you with an adorning crown. Hear, my son, and accept my words, and let the years of your life be many. Walk this thing out. The first command with promise, honor your father and your mother. Accept the words if they're passing you on, the words of Yahuwah Elohim, as they were from Yahuwah, if they're Yahuwah's words. I have led you in straight paths. He's not leading us on a crooked path. If we keep our eyes on him and listen, that path is straight. We are in the yoke with the ox and we are on the straight path. When you walk, your steps shall not be hindered. You're not going to stumble. You're not going to waver. You're not going to topple. Not that a righteous man doesn't fall and gets back up, or not that anybody's without sin. But if you do, keep your eyes on the Master. Your steps are going to be straight and righteous and on the straight path, walking a straight line. Hopefully, for almost always the most part. And if you run, you shall not stumble. Imagine. Running after him. Not just walking, decision. I mean, running full force. Become strong in discipline and do not let go. Watch over her, for she is your life. Do not enter the path of the wrong. Don't go that direction. It's not the correct path. And do not walk in the way of those who are dysfunctional. Don't let them lead you astray. Avoid it. Do not pass by it. Turn away from it. Pass on. See it over there? You might see it over there. Just keep going. Just keep your eyes fixed on the Master. Just keep them fixed. For they do not sleep unless they have been dysfunctional. Dysfunctional runs their life. And their sleep is taken away unless they make someone fall. Walking. Eyes on the Master. Whoop, right out from underneath you. Just keep walking towards him. Keep your eyes focused. For they have eaten the bread of wrongdoing, and they drink the wine of violence. But the path of righteousness is like the light of dawn, that shines ever brighter unto the perfect day. And the darkness hates it, and it must flee. Submit to Yahuwah. By default, that resists the enemy. The way of the wrong is like darkness. They do not know at what they stumble. They're walking in darkness. My son, listen to my words. Listen to the Torah. Listen to the instructions. Listen to that which is good and pure and righteous and true and holy. Incline your ear to my saying. Let them not depart from your eyes. Keep your eyes on the Master. The frontlets between your eyes shouldn't be letting anything else in, and when it tries to come in, it needs to just be cast down. Guard them in the midst of your heart. Don't let anyone take them from you. For they are life to those who find them, and healing to all their flesh. Watch over your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the sources of life. Turn away from you a crooked mouth, and put perverse lips far from you. Because that's how they're going to lead you astray, is by the word, and cause you to walk a different direction, because it's a word game. It's always been a word game. Let your eyes look forward at the master, and your eyelids look straight before you. Consider the path of your feet. Are you going to walk towards that which is functional? Or are you going to go to the left or the right and fall off in the ditch to that with those who are dysfunctional? And all your ways are established. Do not turn to the right or to the left. Turn your foot away from evil and keep it on the straight path. Do not turn to the right and do not turn to the left. Let's keep our eyes fixed and be listening to the voice of the shepherd. Matthew 23, 29 to 39. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. They are out there today. Because you build the tombs of the prophets and decorate the monuments of the righteous and say, if we had lived in the days of our father, we would not have taken part with them in the blood of the prophets. Yeah, you'd have probably followed your fathers. You can say what you will, but guess what? You're still doing it today. They were still doing it here. We're going to see that in a minute. It hasn't stopped. Those who are planting the true seed and securing that to those people that want to be in the house of Elohim so that they can be secured to the house of Elohim, they're taking part in it. And it's going to come on a mass scale. It'll be the new 7, and however they want to interpret it. Thus you bear witness against yourselves that you are the sons of those who did murder the prophets, the seed from the house of those who murdered the prophets, because they are sons of their father the devil, who was a murderer since the beginning and has been a liar because the truth is not in him. What are we acquiring? The truth. We're acquiring the truth in the time that we're in and every step we take. And you fill up the measure of your fathers, and boy, do they. Serpents, yes, they are. Brood of adders, yes, they are. How would you escape the judgment of Gehenna? How would you escape the right ruling? It's like the blood of the saints that the whore has, the blood of the set apart ones. Because of this sea, I send you prophets and wise men and scholars. Scholars of what? Of the scriptures. Wise men, those who have what was breathed from the beginning. Some of them you shall kill and impale, and some of them you shall flog in your congregations and persecute from city to city. We ain't seen nothing yet. So that on you should come all the righteous blood shed on the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the dwelling place and the slaughter place. And he's been a murderer since the beginning. And they are seed of their father, the devil. Truly I say to you, all this shall come upon this generation. Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim, killing the prophets and stoning those who are sent to her. How often I wish to gather your children together, the way a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you would not. He wants to gather the bride who will be Yerushalayim, the new Yerushalayim, made with the living stones that comes down out of the Shemayim, like a hen gathers her chicks under her wings. But they wouldn't. They would not listen. Will we? See, your house is left to you laid waste. For I say to you, from now on you shall by no means see me, until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahuwah. He wishes to gather us under his wings in that same root line where we are zealous and acquiring the truth and acquiring wisdom. And with all our acquiring of wisdom, we acquire understanding. We are zealous for him. And in that same root line, he is zealous for us. Building a place for his seeds to gather. Hallelujah. Okay, let's look at time. Redeeming, acquiring, possessing, zealous for, walking in the all goodness, as wise, not as unwise, in the time that we are in, because the days are wicked. The Strong's is in the Greek is G2540. Kairos, of uncertain affinity and occasion, that is set or proper time. You take it back to Psalm 37:39. But the deliverance, Yah, who came to deliver us, of the righteous, of those who got their eyes on the Master, listening to his voice, following the instructions of the shepherd and the goading that would lead them home. But deliverance of the righteous is from Yahuwah. There's strength in time of distress. If we ain't under some distress right now, being pressed by the enemy, we ain't seen nothing yet. I think I said that once. We ain't seen nothing yet. Now I said it 3 times. It goes back to the Strong's G6256 from 5703, kind of an interesting trace back. Time, especially adverbally with preposition, now, when, etc. It says it comes from the 1503. You can see the 6256 is an ayin ta, but you can see the 5703 is an ayin dal. You have at and ad. That's a vocalization going on there. But we have an ayin ta. And we have an ayin ta for this word in the scriptures. I can't remember how many times it's used. Maybe it'll tell us on the next slide. 296 times this one's used. 269 the ayin dal is used. So we have an ayin ta. Benner's got it in its own 2-letter root line, because these 2-letter root lines. He is correct. We see it's time. A period of time is a moment or a season. What decision are we making in the moment? Are we witnessing in season and out of season? There's a time for everything. They said it comes from the ayin dal. I just thought I'd show it to you. A witness, again, a repetition of time, either definite or indefinite. A determinate period of time. An event or person's testimony recounting another event or person. This is see the door. We're actually dealing with the ayin ta, which is intimacy at that mark in time, at that point in time. Are we possessing? Are we redeeming? Are we acquiring that which takes us in the right direction each and every time, which is eyes on the Master, listening to the voice, walking in that which is functional. Time after time, moment after moment, season after season. I was going to read I'm going to read this. No, I'm not going to read that. If you have the Theological Word Book of the Old Testament, on page 680, in the right-hand column at the bottom, you'll see the et, or the ayin ta. It goes into quite a bit. There are other words for time in here. Ayin ta is the opportunity to choose. Sometimes it's combined with the moeds on a cycle. We've got little cycle, moment after moment. We got cycles. We got weekly cycles. We got wheels going on here. We also have another one, which is the pay ayin mem. So if we keep choosing good, all of a sudden we pick up a beat, like the heartbeat of our master, and we follow in his beat, because that time comes from the root line of the bell, the only place we find that root line for the bell, which is around the high priest's garment along with the pomegranates. Then we have another word for time. We have two other words. One is to march, like we're marching in the army. Ain't no dysfunction in the army. It's orderly. You are following your commander. And he is Yahuwah Elohim. We also have another word for time, which is the wink of an eye. A moment, and it's over. So, in that moment, we have that moment of time. Wink of an eye, everything changes. That's for another time. Okay, so again, you can find that in here on the page that I told you. You can read more about that word. It also lists some of those other words in there. Kind of gives you a little distinction between the different words. So I want to look at this word wicked before we go on and look at time, because redeeming the time. Why are we redeeming the time? Why are we acquiring and possessing these things that will cause us to move in time? Walking exactly because the days are wicked. Ain't that the truth? I wonder how many times I said that. Strong's G4190. Hurtful, that is evil. Properly in effect or influence, right? Watch out for the influencers. That'll probably get me a ding. And thus differing from these other ones here, etc. All this business. But especially morally culpable, that is derelict, vicious, facnorious, mischief, malice, guilt, the devil. Children of their father, the devil. He is dysfunctional. We trace that back to Genesis 2:9. I think this is probably enough said for everyone. And out of the ground Yahuwah Elohim made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight, and tob for food. What are we eating that's giving us the strength to continue on this walk? Is it that which is tob? With the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of tob and ra, function and dysfunction. Here's where we are today. Walking it out. Good and evil. In the Strong's, bad or a noun is evil, naturally or morally. We see that here in the Ancient Hebrew Lexicon, 1460 AN. Benner is in line with using the Ga. Some of you may not be. The definition, bad. Something dysfunctional. Wrong, evil, or wicked. Good is functional in its definition. Wrong is dysfunctional in its definition. To shout an alarm, war, or great rejoicing. Don't anybody say anything about this right here, because that ain't the number. All right. He's making war. Evil is making war. We're an army. At war. No one that has been chosen to be a soldier in the army looks at the affairs of this world any longer, that which is dysfunctional, but only that which the master, which the head chief has called him to do. Psalm 37. We're getting close to done. This might be the second to the last or the last. Psalm 37, 1 to 40. Oh, we're doing pretty good on time, too. Oh. Do not fret because of this dysfunction that is all around us, because the days are dysfunctional. The days are wicked. Do not be envious. Do not be zealous of these workers of unrighteousness. We're not going to acquire that. We're not zealous for that. Do not do it. For they soon wither like grass and fade like the green plants. Trust in Yahuwah. Keep your eyes on Yahuwah and do good. Walk in that which is good. Walk in that which is functional. Dwell in the earth and feed on steadfastness. Feed on that which is Tov. Feed on that which is in the belief of Yahuwah. That word comes from the line of truth. The truth is steadfast. Feed on the truth. And delight yourself in Yahuwah. He is enough. And let him give you the desires of your heart. If he is the authority that is inside of you, the desire of your heart should be, of our heart, should be to fear Yahuwah Elohim and follow his commands. Commit your way to Yahuwah and trust in him, and he does it. And he shall bring forth your righteousness as the light, and your right ruling as midday. Rest in Yahuwah and wait patiently for him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his way. Doesn't matter what all these wickeds are out there doing. All these dysfunctionals. Even if they are prospering. Because of the man doing wicked devices. Don't fret because of him. Whatever he's got going on. Our treasures are stored up in the Shemayim. Abstain from displeasure and forsake wrath. And do not fret. Also to do dysfunction. Whatever it is they got going on. Don't fret thyself to do it. For those that are dysfunctional shall be cut off. But those who wait and endure and walk in all goodness, keeping their eyes on the Master, listening to the voice of the shepherd, inherit the earth. New earth. Circumcised earth. Don't go a different direction while you're waiting on Yahuwah. We need not to go a different direction while we're waiting on Yahuwah Elohim. Yet a little while and the wrong is no more, and you shall look on his place, but it is not. But the meek ones shall inherit the earth. New earth. And delight themselves in plenty of peace and shalom. Won't that be the day that the shalom of Elohim, now that should be ruling in our hearts, the authority that's inside of us, it'll one day be the fullness thereof, because the Son of his love, the word that he breathed, will be the ruler, and the reign will be the reigning law over the land. The wrong plots against the righteous. Misery loves company. And gnashes his teeth at him. Yahuwah laughs at him, for he sees that his day is coming. His way has an end, and the end is death. The wrong have drawn the sword and have bent their bow, but no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Thank you, Father. Hallelujah, Yahuwah. And no fiery dart of the enemy shall enter in. They have bent their bow to cause the poor and needy to fall, to slay those who walk straightly, who walk in function, not dysfunction, who walk straight on at the master. Their sword does not enter into their own heart, and their bows are broken. No, their sword does enter into their own heart. Excuse me. They will reap what they sow. How about that? And their bows are broken. Better is the little of the righteous one than the riches of many wrongdoers. And the arms of the wrongdoers are broken, but Yahuwah sustains the righteous. And they will keep on going. Just keep on going. Yahuwah knows the days of the perfect, those who are mature, spotless, blameless, who are growing up into mature stalks of wheat. And their inheritance is forever on the earth. Yahuwah is our inheritance on the new earth. The inheritance of the priesthood is Yahuwah. They are not ashamed in the time of dysfunction. Redeem the time, because the days are dysfunctional. We are living in mass dysfunction. They are not ashamed in the evil time. We are not a dried, withered up seed in this time of this dysfunction, because we have acquired, we possess, we are zealous for this time. Why? Because the more the dark tries to press in as we move forward, the brighter our light should shine. We're not a dried up seed. And in the days of scarcity of food, they are satisfied. But the wrongdoers shall perish, and the enemies of Yahuwah. Like the splendor of the meadows, they vanish. Like smoke, they vanish away. Maybe like a lake of fire. The wrongdoer is borrowing and does not repay, but the righteous one shows favor and gives. For his blessed ones inherit the earth, the new earth. But those cursed by him are cut off. The steps of man are ordered by Yahuwah. Keep your eyes on him. And he delights in his way. The way to where? Back to the tree of life. Though he falls, righteous man falls 7 times, but get up. He is not cast down. Get up. Keep going. For Yahuwah is his supporting hand. I have been young, and now I am old. Yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. All the day long he is showing favor and lending, and his seed is for a blessing. Turn away from dysfunction. Don't go that way. Keep your eyes on the master. And do good. Be functional. Walk functionally. Exactly. Possessing that in this time, which is functional and good, because the days are evil and dwell forever. For Yahuwah loves right ruling and does not forsake his saints, his lovingly committed ones. They shall be guarded forever. But the seed of the wrongdoers is cut off. Fire burns the seed. The righteous, those who choose the way of goodness as opposed to the way of evil, shall inherit the earth, the new earth, and dwell forever. Nobody's in heaven. The mouth of the righteous speaks wisdom. Why? Because it was acquired by them. They were zealous for it. They bought the truth. They did not sell it. Wisdom and instruction and understanding. And his tongue talks of right ruling. The Torah of Elohim is the authority that is inside of him. His steps do not slide because he's walking a straight line. He's not on a slippery slope. The wrong one is watching for the righteous, right? And is seeking to slay him, right? Fiery dart, sword, bending the bow of their mouth, trying to cause them to go astray and leave the path. Yahuwah does not leave him in his hand, or let him be declared wrong when he is judged. Wait, endure until the end on Yahuwah, and guard his way. And he shall exalt you to inherit the earth, the new earth. When wrongdoers are cut off, you shall see it. I have seen the wrongdoer in great power. Hello. Like, right now? Like, how now? Like, wow. Okay? The wrongdoer in great power. Ain't nothing. He ain't got nothing on Yahuwah. And spreading himself like a native green tree. Yet he passed away, and see, he was not. You're going to laugh at the enemy. That's the one that bothered us? Come on. And I sought him, but he was not found. Watch the perfect and observe the straight, for the latter end of each is peace, maturity, and walking a straight line. Make sure you're watching that you're on that straight line. We need to watch that we're on that straight path. Somebody's behind us, following us. And if there's something we need to repent for to Shub, then let's just do it. But the deliverance of the righteous is from Yahuwah. Yah, who came to rescue us. Yahuwah, who came to rescue us. Their strength, they know their weapon. In a time of distress, are we like pressed on every side yet not crushed? And Yahuwah does help them and deliver them. He delivers them from the wrongdoers and saves them because they took refuge in him. Praise Yah. Our strength, intimacy with our weapon in this time of distress, when the pressure is on, our deliverance is in Yahuwah. Our strength is intimacy with our weapon. Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. For every matter, there is an appointed time. There is a season. I think the word there is moed. Let's go look. No, it's not. I am incorrect. Azam. It's an appointed occasion. For every appointed occasion, even a time for every pursuit under the Shemayim. There's a time for every purpose under the heaven. There's a point that we can be intimate to hit that mark at that point in time. Or there's not. And he can use that which was not done for good. He can make it be for good. We can see that in the scriptures. But that is no reason to continue on. Should we sin that grace may abound? Heaven forbid. There's a time, this is our word for time here. There's a time to be born and a time to die. We have no choice in those. I mean, we have a choice if we're going to have a baby or we're not going to have a baby, because we try to arrange things so we don't, or we do, but we should be doing, because he said be fruitful and multiply. A time to plant and a time to uproot. What time is it? Time to plant, allow something more to be planted in us, or a time to uproot some stuff? You could be planting and uprooting at the same time to give root for the seed to plant. A time to kill and a time to heal. Is it time to kill something off or time to heal? A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to sow, a time to be silent and a time to speak. I have my very dear friend whom I will not mention, but we have to say so-and-so to ourselves. Diane, just shut up. Just shut up. There's a time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love, a time to hate, a time for battle, and a time for peace. So as we're walking out in this time, and it's time to do any one of these things here that we have, we can make a choice. And he knows what choice we're going to make. Are we intimate enough with the time that we're in that we hit the mark when we're supposed to hit the mark? In that time, eyes on the master, listening to the voice of the shepherd. Okay. And we are back to where we started. We're going to read now through Ephesians 5, where the passage came from, and we're going to read verses 1 to 21. Become them imitators of Elohim as beloved children. Walk like he walked. The fullness of Elohim, bodily, the Word wrapped in flesh. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. With the fullness of Elohim bodily. Imitate him. Walk like he walked. Following the Word. For the Word is in motion. And walk in love, as Messiah also has loved us, and gave himself for us a gift and an offering to Elohim for a sweet-smelling fragrance, died to the flesh. We are supposed to be living sacrifices. But whoring and all uncleanness or greed of gain, let it not even be named among you, as is proper among set-apart ones. Eyes on the master, listening to the voice of the shepherd. Don't let any of this be named among us. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor coarse jesting, which are not fitting, but rather thanksgiving. All these things are walking in dysfunction, filthiness, greed of gain, whoring, uncleanliness, foolish talking, coarse jesting. Put your hand to the plow. Don't look back at that garbage. Don't go to the left with it, and don't go to the right. Not fitting, but thanksgiving in everything, even when the days are dysfunctional. Walk in function I don't care how much dysfunction is around. Talk about agitating the sea. Whoo! No wonder they were agitated. Yahushua was walking on them. For this you know, that no one who whores, nor unclean one, nor one greedy of gain who is an idolater has any inheritance in the reign of Messiah. And in the reign of Messiah, even also Elohim. Let no one deceive you with empty words. It's a word game to get you to look any other direction for any reason they can figure out. To take that situation because they know your past, or enemy knows your past, they know what human nature is. Now they've got, I really didn't want to go into a lot of this here, but now they've got artificial quantum computer intelligence that takes the whole mass of people and individually who you are and do what we'll call behavior scoring. It's not just a credit card thing. Behavior scoring. To move you to combinatorially optimize that which is going on in your world, which is generally based on my world, which is generally, for a lot of people, based on this thing and the thing I'm talking to you on. Combinatorially optimize that what you see and that what you hear to get you to move in the direction of dysfunction. Let no one deceive you with these empty words. For because of these, the wrath of Elohim comes upon the sons of disobedience. That's the whole point, is to get you to disobey, to take your eyes off the master. Get you walking in what they're walking in. And right down in the sea of people will go. Therefore, do not become partakers with them. Right down in the sea of people will go. Do not become partakers with them. For you were once in darkness. We were once in darkness. I was once in darkness. But now we are light in the Master. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit of the Ruach HaKodesh, is in all goodness, tob, functions, functionality, and righteousness, and truth, proving what is well-pleasing to the Master by walking exactly in all goodness and righteousness and truth. Proves it. Proves it to them, and the pressure gets even tighter. And have no fellowship with the fruitless works of darkness, but rather expose them. For it is a shame to even speak of what is done by them in secret. But all matters being convicted are manifested by the light, for whatever is manifested is light. If we manifest the light, the darkness must flee. It's going to be exposed. That is why he says, wake up, you who sleep. Shake it off. Because he's going to call us to wake up, you who sleep in the dust, and arise from the dead. Wake up. If you haven't been immersed in the watery grave with Messiah in the name of Yahuwah, and Messiah shall shine on you. See then that you walk exactly, that you walk in a functional manner, not as a fool, but as in the wisdom of Yahuwah that was from the beginning. Redeeming, acquiring, possessing, being zealous for, walking this way, in this functionality, because the days are dysfunctional. So then do not be foolish, but understand what the desire of Yahuwah is, to fear Elohim and walk in his commands. And do not be drunk with wine, with the blood of the saints, like the whore, in which is loose behavior, but be filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, speaking to each other in psalms and songs of praise and spiritual songs, singing and striking the strings in your heart to the Master, giving thanks always for all to Elohim the Father, in the name of our Master, Yahuwah, who came to rescue us, Messiah, subjecting yourselves to each other in the fear of Elohim. Father, we ask you, Yahuwah, our Savior, our Messiah, you who came to rescue us, that in these evil, dysfunctional, wicked days, it's coming upon the whole world. Father, we are under, as we walk more and more with our eyes focused on you, listening to the voice of the Master, the enemy wants to press in. Father, I ask that you take that strong hand and lift us up, Father, that we might keep going, enduring until the end. For as you did the joy set before you, died to the flesh, that for the joy set before us and the reign to come, that we might die to the flesh and walk in all goodness and righteousness and truth. Reveal to us, through your word, what it is, where we're at, that we might walk exactly and redeem this time, Father, for these days are wicked. Yahuwah, we love you and we thank you for your deliverance, for your mercy, and for the outpouring of your love upon those that didn't deserve it, but now just want to love you, leaving all that was wrong and unrighteous and dysfunctional in our lives behind for the higher calling in Yahuwah, Messiah. In your name, hallelujah. Thank you, Father. Hallelujah.